Okay, so I'm going to talk about something. Uh, because, what's it called? Somebody just posted a meltdown video about when a woman with autism tries to get a diagnosis or goes to a doctor to figure out if they do, and then doctors are like, well, we're not sure. And in case that is directed at me, it may or may not be, but it makes sense if it would be because I have been trying to decipher for the longest time and have connected with professionals who say, I'm really not sure regarding autism. So, why do I think I am autistic? Well, if you read a lot of the descriptions that people with autism write about their internal experiences, particularly women with autism and girls with autism, um, that's like I check every box. The other thing though to consider is that when people it's like so like a lot of my friends like particularly like my ADHD like I'm definitely ADHD and dyslexic. So we've got the language disorder going on, which for me it goes beyond uh, dyslexia. And like that's also another thing where I need to try not to get into it. But a lot of these terms that we have in psychology, we're describing clusters of symptoms, and so we're not actually talking about any like it's hard to find anything particularly tangible because often we're not actually looking at anything physical except for how they are presenting in behaviors of an individual. Um, and I've heard that, like, for some people, which I don't know much about at all, but that there are brain scans or something that sometimes can help to diagnose autism. Um, which I would be interested in getting. I just not right now because everything is so emotional and I've been dealing with a lot. Um, if so, I'm gonna go why lots of people with everyone I know, every woman with autism, and trans individual with autism I know thinks I'm autistic. I think okay, because like I think that when criteria changes in the future, I will be. And then I don't think I meet the nosology perfectly, or it's like on the cusp. I don't know. So, and then we're gonna talk about why that is there, even if like I do check all the boxes. Which, yeah, um, yeah, okay. So I think like the big thing is like the deficits in nonverbal communication. So, I don't necessarily have the deficits in nonverbal communication that's expected. Um, I think I probably did when I was little, but knowing now that I had sepsis, so this is like where people are like, so like I did have sepsis when I was little, as I've learned in the last like year. Um, and that type, so it was in my autonomic nervous system, so my entire brain swelled up on the left side. And that type of thing can cause like permanent brain damage or damage to your autonomic nervous system. So your spinal cord and stuff like that, depending on where the infection is. And so I definitely did get like sensorily overwhelmed, and like in pictures of me when I was a baby, like I can see that I wasn't reacting normally. I also like was pretty like obsessed with routine, and like that's very much like my dad has that a lot, like really has that. And I'm more ADHD when it comes to routine. So when I get into a routine, I'm like, this is my routine, I can pick up my day. Like, it's not completely ruined if it gets thrown off. I think that was a skill, though, that I had to learn. And again, I'm exhausted by the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but then it's like the more and more we start unpacking different things, there's so many people who have autism and hypermobile EDS. So this is like where things get super complicated, because it's like psychology is I'm doing this. I'm like, it's very baby from very corrupt roots, and really at the end of the day, it's like, does a label benefit you or not? So like, actually, when I'll talk about it a little bit. So like, when I realized that I have ADHD and I met the criteria and everything like that, I at first didn't want to accept the label and was kind of upset. And it was like, really, I will be honest in how I got that how I realized, oh, maybe I am ADHD. So like, the neuropsychologist who diagnosed me as dyslexia, you could kind of tell in the writing, and like, he mentioned that he did test me with ADHD, for ADHD, because of how I was presenting. And then on many of the neuro cognitive tests, I was ADHD, and then on like one of them I wasn't. And like that, so like, he described me as having a reading disorder, which I do have, due to issues in working memory and executive functions. So that's ADHD. So like, issues with impulsivity, screaming out answers before I was actually done, like, impacted my IQ test scores. And so they're like, these scores aren't accurate because you were screaming done on this like 3D spatial awareness, where it's like, clearly I have incredibly high 3D spatial awareness, but I was screaming done before I was done, because as soon as it was done in my head, I would just like impulsively scream done. And so then they had to stop the timer, and so it like really fucked up my results. And then I have the issue, like, motility issues with cubes. And then again, like, so at that time, we didn't know I had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but mental processing speed and motility speed in psychological testing haven't been differentiated. So like, I guess if you have an issue with motility speed and you know that going into it, they can kind of write that up so that it's like, it's not an issue with her processing speed. However, she requires extra time because of this motility issue. But that's order of diagnoses, and it's like, depending on how you live your life, you may or may not get that diagnosis. So for a lot of men, or I shouldn't call it the men at that point, like boys, they get diagnosed sooner, because there has been a cultural expectation of men being able, like part being physical, and women not. So we got more very other stigmatizing terms like lazy thrown at us, and all that stuff. So it's like, if you looked at my behavior when I was like really, really little, there's definitely a lot of like autism-y type stuff, which is really, I'm hypersensitive to sensory stimuli, which is an ADHD thing as well. I have repetitive behaviors. I always have. Oh, I'm getting yawny. Excuse me. I guess I find it hard to change patterns. I don't Like, I kind of I guess I do need a routine. It's just, it's not as extreme. It's like for me, it's like, if I look at me and then some of my, like most of my friends with autism, it's like their level of where I'm at feels like it's, I won't even say it's like times two what I'm at. I just feel like it's a little bit more extreme than it is for me, where it's like to, but like I still can't handle a lot of neurotypical situations because, yeah, it's too much. But like it's just, I feel if like if the cutoff for autism is like up here, then I'm like here, and like no autism or autism like things is down here. And yes, that was interesting to go through. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sleepy. So we got the, oh. So that's like, there's a lot of stuff to why I think I'm autistic. And it's like some of my humor, it's like only my autistic friends get. Like I've got a compactable cup. And so when it arrived and it's like completely turquoise, I put on a turquoise onesie and I did like a little dance, and I was like, I came up with a song called It's Me as a Cup, and did my dance. And then like all my friends with autism got it. But this is the part where it's like the researchers are like, I don't know, I'm uncomfortable because I've got like, I guess like a childhood like or infantile like traumatic brain injury. I have a significant amount of trauma, which also causes stimming and need for routine and stuff like that. And but like my reading the expressions in the eyes and the face is like way above where a neurotypical person would be. So I experience and share a lot with my friends with autism, where it's like I agree that social rules are really stupid because like they're not explained and they're not clear, and like there are so many intervening factors like culture, and it's like in a way it's like I validate that for a lot of my friends with autism because it's like I can actually see it, but it's like my reading the expression in the eyes is really good, like above like neurotypical PhD levels, where it's like that like level of having to deal with like these socially nuanced situations and stuff like that. Apparently it's like people in that category score above average in like reading people's facial expressions. And then it's like every once in a while like sometimes the only questions I get like wrong, like I'll get like 1 to like 3 wrong out of like 36. And it was like one time when I got one wrong, the reason I got it wrong was because I wasn't sure if they wanted me to respond as how culture has trained me to view this as a woman, which was looking at a very domineering male face, and then stating the emotion attached to it. And then friendly and domineering were both there. And I didn't really think it was friendly. It didn't feel friendly. But I felt like I was expected to say that that's friendly because of my experience of how socially inappropriate men have been excused. So that like level of analysis and like actually like accuracy of looking like at eyes and being able to tell the expressions and stuff like that would make it like for a lot of specialists. I'm really tired, excuse me. I don't think I meet that criteria so much. but maybe I do. And then we knew all the reasons why people think I'm autistic. There's no anything. It just is what it is. Okay, I'm really tired. Sleepy eyes. Good night.